Halloween Ends, directed by David Gordon Green, is the third movie in David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy. And I appreciate his trilogy, he delivered a lot for the fans. He did the 2018 film, which I saw, and when I first saw it, I thought it was okay, but the more I've been watching it lately, the more I am starting to appreciate the film. I love its atmosphere. I love its slow burn, its ominous tone. It's a really good movie, I must admit. And then you go into Halloween Kills, and it's split down the middle. I'm one of the people that enjoy the film, even though I was criticizing it before it came out because of the trailers, and it made it look like some Friday the 13th movie. And I feel if it was a Friday the 13th movie, fans would probably be a lot nicer towards it, maybe a little bit more nicer, I don't know. But I enjoyed Kills for what it was. It was a fun, dumb slasher film. Now we get into Halloween Ends. And there are a lot of things I like about it. Like, number one, I love the music. The musical score is great, as always, from John Carpenter, Cody Carpenter, and Daniel Davies. They do a fantastic job with this score. There are a lot of... I think this is probably one of the best scores within this trilogy.
Come sit by my side. You've got a sad look in.
David Gordon Green, I think he did a fantastic job with the directing in this film. I feel like there are a lot of scenes where he lays out Easter eggs for the fans, like in the opening scene with Corey on top of the stairs holding the knife is a nice image of Michael from the first Halloween film. Then there's a scene of Corey and Allison at the radio tower, and Corey leaps off the building, and when he sits up, he does a Michael Myers setup, which I thought was nice. Then there is this beautiful scene of Corey and Allison at this party, and it's very beautifully shot, and it's horrific at the same time because there's this moment where Corey runs into the mother of the boy he killed at the beginning, and David Gordon Green, the way he shoots Corey over the shoulder like how Michael would be shot.
I wake up every day and I can't get past the pain. It kills me, you understand.
I enjoyed the story of the film. For the most part, I think Corey and Allison's relationship, once it gets going, it's intimate, and the music and the setting and the cinematography, the directing, all of the technical aspects that come into play make it an enjoyable experience. And then the stuff with Hawkins and Laurie I thought was very good. I enjoyed all of their scenes together. Then the ending of the film is a satisfying conclusion to this trilogy when you see Michael in the grinder and they grind him up. I thought that was a very iconic shot, and it's a definitive ending. It's like, yeah, Michael Myers is not going to be able to physically come back from that. And then it was a beautiful ending. It was very nice. It was, if you look at this as a quad trilogy from the 1978 film all the way to Ends, the way this ends is fantastic. It mimics the original ending of the 1978 film, but it's more optimistic. It's more hopeful. With all that being said, as a whole, I don't enjoy this movie. I think pretty much all of the scenes with Michael Myers are terrible. The scene when he's introduced in the sewer is stupid because There's so much I can go into, but let's start with this. So the sewer stuff, it's like, okay, so you're telling me that Michael Myers, after the events of Halloween Kills, for some reason decides to retreat into a sewer. And I understand what David Gordon Green said in an interview.
We meet Michael in this chapter. He's been out of the headlines for 4 years. He's kind of gone dormant, and he's found this place where he resides, and the mask is decayed and mold and mildew on it, and he's in bad shape. And he's gone away to rot, you know, kind of like an animal will just walk into the woods and die. And I think he's kind of awaiting that when he meets an unlikely new colleague, and I think the energy that they feed off of each other in some ways reawakens what he's capable of.
I guess so. I feel like you just don't care about Michael in this film, because Michael, he's treated like trash in here. Because he's in the sewer, and then he's in there for whatever reason, and they do have the little snippet of, oh, his house was demolished, and so that kind of explains the situation, where it's like, well, his only purpose, they explain this in Kills.
He creeps, he kills, he goes home.
That's his only purpose. He's gonna kill and go home, but his house is demolished, so he can't go back home. But then you're telling me they demolished his house that very same night after he killed Karen or something? It's like, what did he do after he killed Karen? You're telling me he killed Karen, he somehow got out of there without anyone seeing him, and he retreated into the sewer for 4 years, and that's it. That's stupid. This magical, mystical stuff. It's like Michael looks into Corey's eyes, and then Corey just turns evil, and it's like, what is going on? Did Michael transfer his evil to Corey? I don't care, and I don't know. And whoa. Then it's like you got this homeless person in here for whatever reason who has been watching Corey. So it's like, you're telling me now all of a sudden Michael has assistants, he has backup, he has people working for him, he has henchmen. When in the 2018 film, you explain that Michael doesn't want any help after he killed Sartain, who just saved Michael's life. Then you have this terrible scene where Michael and Corey are wrestling for the mask. And I understand, like, that's his thing. They've set this up beautifully. Especially they had this in the 1978 film where Michael and Laurie were having the struggle. She pulled off his mask, and, you know, he was more concerned about his mask. So they set this up, you know, in 2018 with the masks. They set it up in Kills with the mask. And so it makes sense that his mask is his concern and ends. But this sequence, the way they shoot it, it feels comedic. I'm like, are you trying to make this funny? Is this supposed to be serious? What the hell is this? To me, this scene is just as bad as Busta Rhymes kicking Michael Myers out of a window. You have this one nice scene where Michael and Corey go to Dr. Mathis' house, and his music is really good, and the directing, the whole technical stuff is good. And then you see Corey stabbing Mathis, and he's got this scarecrow mask on, and the imagery is really good. I'm like, holy shit, this is new and different. I'm feeling this. And Corey's helping out Michael. I'm fine with this. Kind of makes sense. And then, you know, this chase scene happens, and then Corey's banging on the glass. Then Michael comes out, and then he chokes the nurse and presses her up against this painting, which is artistic. And then he stabs her, and then he does the whole thing that he did with Bob in the 1978 film. So with this scene, I'm like, it's cool visually, but it really makes Michael look weak, because then he needs help, because his whole thing is like, the more he kills, the more he transcends, he recharges, and all this stuff. And I'm just like, after the events of Kills, he should be in Super Saiyan mode. It's like, after Kills, he should have just been like massacring a bunch of people. yeah, after that they had this cool sequence of kills with Corey. Like the most iconic ones being mentioned are the blowtorch scene, which I agree with, and then the DJ getting his tongue cut off. I thought was a very gruesome scene that would definitely be in the top 5 kills of the Halloween franchise. And then the ending fight to this film, the thing we have all been sold, and they lied to us, is not what the movie's about, which I didn't mind. Like I said, I enjoyed the Corey Cunningham story up until the ending. It makes no sense that Corey would go after Laurie, but I guess this is just to lead to the final showdown. And Corey shows up, he gets shot, and then he kills himself. Corey kills himself because he says,
If I can't have her.
You son of a bitch.
Laurie, for some reason, pulls the knife out of Corey's neck and decides to hold it. And then when Allison sees it, then she decides to drop it. And it's like, yeah, that's one of those classic movie setups right there. You know, just to frame Laurie in this kind of light. And then, you know, it doesn't go anywhere. That doesn't last for like, it only lasts for like, 2 seconds. Because then it's like, Allison gets a phone call and immediately, oh, Laurie, Corey is involved all along. So this whole Corey, I'm paying attention to Corey throughout this entire film. And it's like intriguing, but then they do nothing with it. So by the end, when he kills himself, it just feels like you just wasted all of this time for this. That whole kitchen fight, yeah, visually it looks nice. You hear Michael breathing very heavily, which he's never breathed this heavily before, so it just reminds me of Jason, but it's fine. I enjoy seeing Michael like this. He looks good, it looks good, and yeah, I'm in for it. But when I really think about it, I feel like this whole situation, the way it's set up and the way it's executed, it's piss poor. For God's sakes, why would Michael Myers pay attention to a microwave? You could say this is a nitpick, but hear me out. So you have Michael Myers. This whole scene starts with, Corey killing himself. Then Michael takes back his evil or whatever. And so you're like, okay, Michael, the more he kills, more he transcends. He should be at 100% capacity now, or at least, 50. So he goes into this kitchen, and yes, they set up the microwave earlier in the film. But for some reason, now Michael's fixated on it, like he's hungry or something. And then, they got this ticking thing with the blinds, and Laurie stops it, and then that makes Michael startled, and he starts walking, and then, he's walking all slowly towards the door, and then I'm thinking, like, is Michael scared of, like, what is he doing? Then the microwave, the food explodes, and it startles him, and then they have their fight. And I'm just like, why would Michael Myers be startled by a microwave, of all things? It's like, yeah, the way you establish this stuff and set all these little things up to this fight makes sense. That's beautiful. That's beautiful construction. But just thinking about it rationally, like, Michael should not be behaving like this. No disrespect to, Jamie Lee Curtis and James Jude Courtney and the creators involved. I understand that, they crafted it. They put their they worked hard on it. And Jamie Lee Curtis actually, threw herself around and got really injured and stuff, So I understand that. I kudos, I respect, you know what I'm saying? But just ultimately, I'm just like, the H2O fight was better. And the way this sets up, the way this fight treats Michael from just all of the scenes leading to this point, I don't care. I don't care. Like, Michael feels like he's a scared old man, and it's just it doesn't feel like Michael. It doesn't feel like Michael at all. I mean, I enjoyed the way they executed the fight, but just thinking about it from just a rational sense of like the 1978 Michael to this Michael. All the stuff they established, all the stuff they set up to this Michael. It's just like, it doesn't feel like Michael Myers to me. It just feels like Laurie Strode is fighting some copycat killer in a mask. It should have just been a fight between Corey and Laurie, honestly. Ultimately, by the end, I'm just confused and conflicted on how I feel about this film. My thoughts are all over the place. Like, I don't love this film. I don't hate this film. I hate some things in it, especially how they treat Michael. That's the thing I hate the most. But the stuff with Corey's intriguing. But they kill him, and I don't care by the end. So I don't love this film. I don't hate this film. I'm indifferent about it. I feel like I'm in the middle. Besides on all the stuff with Michael. Everything with Michael in this film. All the scenes with Michael in this film are awful. Every scene with Michael in this, except for the scene where he kills the nurse. That's the best scene with Michael. But other than that, every other scene, and then when he dies at the end is the best scene. But other than that, every scene with Michael in here is terrible. To take Michael out of this film completely. Take Michael out of this film completely, and I think you have a great movie on your hands here. Other than that, that's all I got.
I know how to drive.
Don't mess up my car, please.
My hair.
Right? Don't mess it up.
Oh, Mike.
Nice wax job.
Touch the car again and you're dead. Okay. Thank you.
What the fuck? He's dead. Get it.
We keep driving into the night. It's late.